A goal that I have set for myself whenever I upload videos here on YouTube is I try to the best of my own ability to talk about music in a positive way. Whether it be an obscure or entry-level band or artist, and I talk about them either once or multiple times, if that can string up a conversation for someone to listen to it, no matter what the case is, I consider that video an overall success. Because personally, I find it counterproductive when people explicitly go out of their way to announce that they find a band or artist overrated or bad or it's the worst thing ever. And I've also stated in a previous video that I think the biggest insult you can give an artist is to just ignore them completely. And I still stand by all of that. I know with the title of this video alone, I'm going against all of that, and I'm aware of it because just this one time I need to break my own viewpoints and rules here, because never before has a band just been so bad that it's entertained me so much. One thing that I've noticed specifically here on the internet is whenever the conversation is brought up of what is considered the worst death metal band, whether it be a video, a comment thread, or a forum, it seems like by default the internet just says 6 Feet Under without even giving it a second thought. And while I am aware that 5 years ago I made a video called 5 Bands I Dislike, and in that video I talked about that one of the bands I disliked was 6 Feet Under. And still to this day I don't care for them. I wouldn't recommend them to anyone who's trying to get into death metal. But I, over the years, kind of feel bad for them, because now they've become like the punching bag for everyone if you want to talk smack about death metal. It just seems like now the, I don't know, the internet's kind of gone overboard with talking down upon them. And I decided to give them another chance and listen to the albums that were considered to be more favorable, such as their debut full-length, which is Haunted and Undead. And while they're nothing I would say, is amazing or you need to check this out, they're honestly not all that bad. If anything, they're kind of decent sounding, because I think the direction they're going for is going for more of like a groove-oriented death metal approach, something really similar to that of like Obituary. So I wouldn't really say 6 Feet Under is the worst death metal band. However, the thing that they're often criticized for, and you can hear that very apparent on their latest full-length album, that being Nightmares of the Decomposed, is everyone criticizes Chris Barnes' vocals. They're very dried up, and usually the description people give is that Chris Barnes now sounds like, your dad or uncle making fun of death metal vocals, is usually what people say about Chris Barnes nowadays. And while, this album in terms of the vocal department is not good, the thing you can't give it fault for is in terms of the musicianship, like all the instrumentation, the guitar riffs and the drums and the bass playing and the overall production value, it's all correct. They're all in rhythm, they're all playing correctly, it's all produced correctly. It's just Chris Barnes dropped the ball on the vocal department on this album. So at least 6 Feet Under has that going for them in terms of production value and musicianship. Whereas this band I'm about to be talking about, that being Tougher Than Nails, has none of that. Upon my first listen of their 2020 full-length album, Arise Warrior, within the time span of 15 seconds, I ended up busting out laughing repeatedly. And this album goes on for nearly 40 minutes long. I doubt many of you guys are going to believe what I'm saying, but I'm trying my absolute best to talk about this album straight-faced, because throughout the day, I've been repeatedly listening to this album to prepare myself whenever I talk about it, and I just can't help but laugh and giggle, because everything, and I can't stress this enough, everything is off about this album with anything that you can understand about music, from tempo, rhythm, beats, production value, songwriting, execution, and performance. Every little thing is wrong, and like I stated earlier, I've never been so entertained by something being so bad. To prove that to you guys, I'm going to try my best to go through the first 15 seconds listening to this album and try not to laugh. Oh, those vocals. And that's only the first 15 seconds or so. After I collected myself and proceeded on past that part, I noticed really quickly that all the guitar riffs are completely out of sync. It sounded like he recorded each part at different portions and then cropped them all together in iMovie Maker, because there's no sense of a flow whatsoever that I've listened to noise albums that have more rhythm than the guitars being played on this album. As for the percussions, if you even want to call it that, not only are they offbeat and out of rhythm like everything else, but they are produced just so overblown that whenever it's played, it just sounds like a really abrasive fart. One thing that I'm noticing right now as I'm making this video is looking at the album artwork. All the font that's used on it is all off center. I need to point that out because I kept laughing at that as well when I paused the music. But getting back on track here, I guess the reason why I have such an odd fascination right now with Tougher Than Nails to claim that they are the worst death metal band is that it reminds me of what is considered to be by a lot of music fans as the worst album ever made. That being the Shags, The Philosophy of the World. That is a very infamous album, released back in 1969. And as the story goes with this album, is that it's all performed by three sisters, and they formed back in, I think, 1965. And they were forced by their father to create and play music because their mother had a vision for them that their rise to fame would be playing music. Well, all the sisters in the Shags had no knowledge or even interest to play music. So throughout the years that they were writing music for the Shags, when this album got released in 1969, what you're going to hear is music that is offbeat, with no rhythm, everything is out of tune, and all the singing is off key. It's just a very, very bad album in terms of performance because everything is off. And I feel like whether Tougher Than Nails realizes it, whether this is a satirical thing or they're being dead serious, the fact that everything is just off, literally everything, I would honestly say that this release right here by Tougher Than Nails is the death metal version of the Shags. If that sounds appealing to you and you want to buy this album physically, well, you're in luck, because there are vinyl copies available for $45 plus shipping and handling. And I know $45 seems pretty outrageous of a price, but I guess for this band, if they were able to sell at least one vinyl copy for $45, that more than likely covers their expenses for the production value on this. And it doesn't stop there. They also have a follow-up full-length album called Delusional Blasphemies Destroyed. It was released back in 2021, and it was received so poorly by all the music listeners and critics that they ended up taking it down on all of their streaming services. Sadly, that means I have no chance whatsoever of hearing this album. But going off of a review that I stumbled across when I searched this album up, is that the reviewer gave me a bit more information about them reading it. And Tougher Than Nails, which I can't believe I'm going to say this in a sentence, But Tougher Than Nails is a Christian technical death metal band. And with the lyrical themes, and as you can tell with the ridiculous album artwork, is that basically, to summarize it in a sentence without going like too much into detail, this album is the result of what it would be like if the Westboro Baptist Church became a death metal band. I know this kind of video is very unorthodox for my channel, but I've never heard anything this abysmal before, to the point that I just laughed and I just couldn't stop laughing. From all the comments I've read that I found about this, everyone's either saying it's the worst thing ever, or they're just laughing their asses off. And I guess what this kind of reminds me of is The Room. Again, a movie that is considered to be the worst movie ever made, yet people love the shit out of it because it's so unaware of just how bad everything is, how it's performed and acted, that people watch it in an ironic kind of way. And I feel like Tougher Than Nails is like the Shag or The Room take on death metal. They're so unaware of just like how off and badly performed subjectively everything is, that you find such odd fascination with it. And I've never heard an album just so unaware of just being so poor before until today, which is why I wanted to make this video about them. So I'm not even going to bother to say what you consider to be the worst death metal band, because I don't think anything out there can make me laugh as hard as this band has. And that'll do it for this video, guys. Like always, if you're willing, at least this time, to check it out, links will be provided to where you can hear Tougher Than Nails, at least the album that's still uploaded on the internet. And yeah, other than that, like always, guys, make sure you guys drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, and have a great day.